everyone? Shop back at it. Newest video, first video in I don't know how many months, but we're back at it. And this is my immediate reactions after watching the Daredevil season 1 finale of Born Again. Daredevil Born Again season finale. Immediate reactions. Warning: if you are a shill, if you are a bot, if you are a Disney meat rider, if you are a fanboy, leave the video. Leave the video. I am warning you. I am warning you. I am warning you because you will not like what I have to say. That's just to get that out there. Leave the video. Leave your dislike. Leave your shill comment. I'll make sure to pin it. But enough is enough. Let's get to this. Now, after saying that, I don't hate this episode, by the way. In fact, I don't think it's a bad episode at all. But I think it's the wrong episode. I think it's the wrong type of episode we need to conclude the season. Now, just for some backstory on this season, we all know about the reshoots. We all know that they brought in that horrible team, Chris Ord and the other guy, I forgot his name. They brought in those cowards and those clowns. They brought them in so they can make that horrible rendition of the show. They kicked them out. Well, they filmed about 4 episodes. They kicked them out. And then they brought back Dario from Punisher. And they brought back, another writer. And Aaron, they brought in the Loki directors, Moorhead and Benson. They brought them to film the first episode and the last 2 episodes. Which is, I loved the first episode. I really enjoyed it. And the last 2 episodes, I'm not going to review the penultimate episode, but I will review the finale. I thought the episode 8 was okay. I thought it was all right. And that's the same way I feel about the finale. I think it's just okay, and I think it's all right. And I think that more from, not because of its quality, but because of where it's placed in the season. It's placed in the wrong episode order. Episode 7 should have been episode 5, and this episode should have been episode 6. Because there is no way that these are the penultimate episodes and the finales of your season. There's just no way that can be. This feels like a mid-season finale more than it feels like a season finale. And the Where the Boys wins. Because the Boys season 4 finale and this finale is very different. Well, they're very similar, actually. But I'm going to tell you how they're very different as well. Where the Boys wins is the Boys season 4 finale has resolution. They're very similar in the fact where they basically leave off on a massive cliffhanger, but the Boys season 4 finale has resolution, which is something that this season finale does not have. It just simply doesn't have a resolution. You can tell that this was rushed. You can tell that they had to speed things up. They had to contrive certain things. They had to speed it up so they can get to season 2, which will undoubtedly be better than this season. It's not even a contest. It's not a comparison. I have full faith. I would bet $1,000 that season 2 will be better than this season. I will bet $1 million. I don't have it, but I would bet it. Because if season 2 is somehow worse than this season, then I'm done with this show. I'm done with the MCU. I am done. The reason why, I said before, if Disney and the MCU ruins Daredevil, I'm done. And I don't think they ruined Daredevil. Some people do. I don't think so. And I'm going to tell you why. I think this season had a good foundation. I think that it built up so it can crescendo to this finale. I just don't think it was well executed. It has a good foundation. If the writers from, the Punisher and the showrunner and the directors from Loki, if they were on this show for the entire runtime from episode 1 through 9, then I think this would have been an amazing season. They sadly weren't. It was sabotaged by the hack garbage writers because Disney thought they could do better, and they were clearly proven wrong. And I don't even blame Dario and Benson and Moorhead and the other writer that they brought in, because you got to deal with the hand you're dealt. You have to. You can't. They couldn't have just scrapped them. They had to deal with it, and they did it the best they can. And I don't blame them, It was supposed to be 18 episodes. They're shortening it to 9 episodes. They're shooting season 2 right now. But that's just the backstory of the season. And that explains my exact critiques of the season. The season is very disjointed. It is not well paced at all. Some things are rushed. Some things are dragged out. You are clearly watching 2 different shows in this season. You're watching pre-overhaul and you're watching post-overhaul. And it's very, very clear. It might even be more clearer than the Captain America Brave New World reshoots. But we always hear about that. We always hear about how that was reshot to hell. That was reshot to death. The film is terrible, which it's not terrible, but it is a bad film, yes. But we always hear about that, but we never really hear about this. This does not have the same criticisms for some reason. I wonder why. I truly wonder why this does not have the same criticisms. And, I was very faithful in this season. I came in this season, thinking that, Disney could always mess it up. It's Disney at the end of the day. But the trailers looked good. Charlie Cox was back. Vanessa's actor was back. Vincent D'Onofrio was back. John Bernthal was back. So I came in with high hopes. And those high hopes were not met. I'll just say that right now. And they weren't met because of the previous issues I stated. But let's just get to this episode. Let's review this episode. So we start off the episode with, Vanessa propositioning Dexter. She wants Dex to kill Foggy because of the case. He's about to win the case. They're hiding things. So she wants him to kill Foggy, and she propositions him for his freedom. She says, "You will be free if you do this." So obviously he does it, and that was a year ago. That was a flashback. And in the present, he escapes. He escapes the ball, and we go to Matt, injured, very injured, and this is one of my problems this episode. This is clearly rushed, in my opinion. He's injured 1 second, and then he's okay the next. It's just flat out ignored that he was shot in this entire episode. Daredevil is not Spider-Man. He does not have speed healing. He is not a superhuman in terms of strength or anything, or durability or anything like that. He is a normal human who has super senses, who's very agile. He's a super blind ninja. So the fact that this happened is, in my opinion, just very badly written. It was glossed over, and we didn't get any scenes showcasing a hurt Matt Murdock. It would have been great to see him fight and hurt, and we didn't get that. That's just one of my many critiques of this episode. So he's in a hospital. So, and then Fisk reveals that he actually knew that Vanessa had the hit out on Foggy, so he knew that. And Fisk orders Buck. He orders Buck to kill Daredevil in the hospital. He orders that. Clearly Daredevil, that he catches that. Matt catches that. Doesn't work out, and they just can't find him. He goes back to his apartment, and then he finds Frank Castle. Now, here's my writing worry about this episode. Here's my issue. How did Karen know because in this episode, Karen calls Frank to help Matt. So how did Karen know that Matt was in trouble? How did she know? It's not explained. None of this is explained, which leads me to believe that this was writing. It was very contrived. It was very contrived, and I don't like that. It was just there for fan service, in my opinion. That's the way it's written. How did she know that Matt was in trouble and that he was going to go back to his apartment? Nothing foreshadows that Frank was going to be there. Nothing. He was just there. He just shows up. So that happens. The anti-vigilante task force, they go to his apartment, and then they had that cool duo, that team up, and I'll give them credit. It was cool. But I also have criticism with that. For the vast majority of that team up, there was a lot, and I mean a lot, of slow motion. It looked like it was directed by Zack Snyder. It was very dark, very gray, a ton of slow motion for some reason, and a ton of, I really like John Bernthal. I just want to make that clear before I say this. I love John Bernthal. In fact, he is one of my favorite modern actors. but I don't like the fact that he's turned the Punisher into this maniac, this roid raging, Wolverine, screaming, growling maniac. In my opinion, that is not the Punisher. The Punisher is the stoic, hard, just very calm military man. He's more like the Batman or Doomslayer than than this. This is just Wolverine. I don't like that. It's very distracting. It's unnecessary. It was cringe. It was cringe watching it happen in slow motion. Did not like that at all. I don't know why they chose to slow motion it. If it was just normal screaming, no slow motion, then sure. But the slow motion was just gracious. It was ridiculous. I'll just be honest. I did not like that. But for the rest of the fight was cool. They argue about morals and all that. And that was pretty cool. It was some good dialogue there, whatever. Frank tries to get him to kill the guy who killed the White Tiger. Did not work, obviously, thank God. And then there's a grenade thrown, and then the rest is history. The building blows up, and that's it. Karen finds them somehow. Once again, I'll just say once again, very, very contrived. Karen finds, she just turns up at the perfect moment. She finds him. She finds Frank and Matt at the perfect moment in need of help. Very contrived, clear fan service. Not well written, to be honest. I'll just say that. This episode was not really well written. Was it an enjoyable episode? Yes. It was very action-packed, gore everywhere, very enjoyable. But it was not well written. I'll just say that. What else happens? They reconnect, basically. Matt and Karen, they reconnect. They talk. He asks her that she asked him, how did my heart hear? Did you hear my heart when it was beating or something like that? And he responds, yeah, but it was adrenaline, because she said the same thing about Frank. So that was a cool moment. I loved their dynamic. I love their dialogue. I hope she's in all of season 2. I hope they get this Heather character out of here completely, because she is horrible. She's a horrible written character, and I hope they take her out the show. So they track down the Red Hook. They tracked down the Red Hook case, and they discovered that Fisk was basically establishing a prison. It was a prison or a city-state or something. He called it something like that. And, I guess that's the prison where they eventually take the Punisher and the Swordsman and all these vigilantes for some reason. I guess this is just a prison. And here's my problem with this episode. This is my main problem, actually. I hope season 2 reveals that this was his plan. But the Punisher, he goes down, he hears the VF, he hears them, he hears the Vigilante Task Force saying something about it was something on the mic, I forgot. But he goes to where they're at. He kills them. At first, we think he's going to be sneaky. He's going to be stealthy, like freaking Last of Us stealth. So he does that at first, and then he just becomes Wolverine again. It's just like it's so stupid. It was just so stupid, and that's why I hope that this was a ruse. That maybe this was his plan to get caught. Because if it's not, then I'm going to have to further drop my points for this episode, because that's just bad writing. Punisher would never do that. In fact, in that very scene, that's not what was happening at first. He was being stealthy. So why all of a sudden would he not be stealthy? It makes no sense. So he gets captured. And the Pow dude, the other cop, the horrible cop, he tries to convince Castle to join them. He says, you have free reign. You can do whatever you want. Power tripping bastards. They're basically that. And it's he tries to do it, and in my opinion, the dialogue could have been a bit better. There's an iconic line from the comics that says, where Frank says, if you want someone to glorify or something like that, if you want someone to look up to Captain America. He could have said something like that. This is connected to the MCU now. We can have MCU connections. He could have said something like that. That would have been a much better line than what he said in the show. But that's just a small nitpick, so let's move on. Gallo, Commissioner Gallo, he speaks to the woman. I forgot her name because she's a nobody, like most of the side characters in this season. He speaks to her, and he basically has a plan to portray Fisk, to lock him up or something like that. And she exposes him, and Fisk obviously. This is a scene that I really liked. This is actually one of my favorite scenes this episode, if not my favorite. Fisk in front of his task force, he destroys him. He absolutely smashes his head in two. He rips his head. He just absolutely destroys him. It is very graphic. It is something that you don't see Disney doing, but they did it. They definitely did it. They said earlier before the show came out that there was a graphic scene that they would have used. They tried to cut it, but it wasn't cut. It definitely was not cut. It's very much in this episode. And that's the episode. It's in this episode, and that's the scene where Fisk crushes his head with his hands. So Gallo's dead now. And then Fisk, he asks Heather to be his mental health commissioner or something like that, and she accepts. So I hope that she's killed off. I really do. I hope that Daredevil's done with her. I hope that she's killed off very early off in season 2, because she is a horrible character. It was building up to this, but it was not built up well. It was built up horribly. So he offers her that position, and then after that, Fisk declares martial law. He says enough is enough. He says the city is his. He's basically a tyrant. He is the king of New York. He is the dictator of New York. Martial law, no vigilantes, nothing. And that's amazing. They're clearly going to follow the Devil's Reign arc. And I really do hope they follow it closely. But my problem with that is, where are the other heroes? Where are they? We only seen White Tiger. We've only seen the Punisher. We've seen the Swordsman, who did nothing, and we see Daredevil. Where is Luke Cage? Where is Jessica Jones? Where is Iron Fist? Where is Spider-Man? Where is Moon Knight? Or any other of these street level heroes? Where are they at? Hell, you could have added Miss Marvel. I mean, just like it's something. I mean, her father was there, so you could have done something like that. I mean, just something to have a connection with the MCU. It just makes no sense in my opinion, in my eyes, because and I get it. They got problems with Sony and Spider-Man. Sony is the death of Spider-Man. They always will be the death of Spider-Man. They're the worst thing to ever happen to Spider-Man, actually. So I get it. But it still doesn't make sense story-wise. And then, he actually says, Matt says they need an army to defeat Fisk's army. And he builds up, not an army, I'll tell you that. Definitely not an army. You could have at least had the Defenders there, man. You could have had Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, Iron Fist. You could have had them there. Colleen Wing, Misty Knight. You could have had them there for sure. None of them were there. I'll just say that. Spoiler, none of them were there. And that was kind of disappointing me. No, I'm not asking for fan service cameos. I'm asking for the story to make sense. Instead, he gets, I forgot who he got already. He just got a bunch of, the so-called good cops, like 4 of them. He got freaking Karen, obviously. I forgot. He got Cherry. He got the other lawyer. That's about it. McDuffie. He got McDuffie. That's her name. I always forget her for some reason. And that's about it. That ends the entire season. That's the ending season. The post-credit scene is the worst scene in the entire season, in my opinion. It is absolutely ridiculous. It is goofy. And I absolutely will nitpick this scene because of how dumb it is. So, obviously, it was a fan service moment. But, Frank, he basically convinces the guard to shake his hand. The guard stupidly shakes his hand, knowing that this is a violent, dangerous, killing machine vigilante. So this is all contrived so Frank can break out and cause chaos and destruction. And that was just a horribly written scene. It's so goofy and it's so stupid. it's I'm gonna call it, it's retarded. It's a retarded scene that should not exist. This scene clearly sets up the Frank Castle Punisher special presentation. That's definitely what the special presentation will be, and I wonder if that's going to be good. Hopefully, John Bernthal is co-writing it, and maybe he's going to bust everyone out, fight the anti-vigilante task force. I think it could be good. This episode, I'm very mixed on this episode because it set up very good things. It set up the Punisher special presentation. It set up Daredevil season 2. So it set things up, but as an episode in its own, it's not very well written. It's not well written. It's just action for action's sake, gore for gore's sake, it's whatever. So many things could have happened this episode. The episode peaked with the Punisher and Daredevil team up. That was the peak of the episode, and it happened like 15 minutes in the episode. And then after that, it just crescendoed into this very meandering, whatever, they did not follow up right. And it's whatever. There was a lot of build-up this season, but it definitely wasn't good build-up. A lot of it felt like filler. A lot of it was just whatever. My favorite episode this season was episode 3 for sure, the White Tiger trial. That was definitely my favorite episode this season. And I really enjoyed the first 4 episodes. I hated episode 5, which was clear, blatant filler, and was clearly pre-overhaul. Hated episode 6. Hated episode 7. Definitely hated episode 7. I didn't hate episode 8, but I thought 8 was underwhelming, but it was fine. And I think the same with this. Very underwhelming season finale, but fine. This is not even close to the Netflix Daredevil show. I don't care what the shills think. I don't care what the Marvel shills think, the Disney shills. I don't care what the fanboys say. You can type like the clown you are in the comments, but you will be addressed. I am telling you that right now. I am open to addressing your comments. I'm open to arguing with you in the comments. I won't back down. You can do whatever you want, but I won't back down. So all in all, this season was very disappointing. Borderline filler season, setup season. It's basically The Boys season 4. And I don't like that at all because I did not like The Boys season 4. Is this better? Yes, absolutely. But it's still not good. I'm going to give this season a 5.5 out of 10. Just barely above average, but very average. Most of the episodes were trash, and the highs weren't good enough to save this. If it wasn't for the first 4 episodes, I would be giving this a 3 out of 10, or if not lower, and I would be completely and absolutely done with the MCU. I will give season 2 a chance. I will give the new writers and showrunner and directors a chance, and I'm going to see if they do it. If that's trash, and if the Punisher special is trash, I will not be watching Avengers Doomsday, and I will be completely done with the MCU, and they can kick rocks. It's just as simple as that. 5.5 out of 10, like I said. If I were to rate this episode individually, I would rate it a 5 out of 10, and if I were to rate this episode as a season finale, I would rate it a 2 out of 10. This was a terrible season finale. Not completely unwatchable, not a 1 out of 10, but it was terrible. 2 out of 10 as a season finale. That's all I have to really say. Didn't want to make this video as long as it is, but it's whatever it is. Peace. Like, subscribe. Definitely going to be making more videos. Matter of fact, I might just make a Last of Us season 2 episode 1 video right after this. I'm out, man.